Max Verstappen, the prodigy of Formula One racing, has been challenged by his teammate, Checo Perez. This shocking development has caught Red Bull Racing's team boss Christian Horner off guard and begs the question, how will he manage these two drivers this season? With both drivers racing for the biggest prize possible, will Max's actions have consequences, or will he be able to sail to a third driver's championship with no problems? Before getting into this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, F1 Racing, and join our community of passionate fans who share your love of this high-speed, adrenaline-fueled sport. So let's go. Perez's challenge to Verstappen has certainly shocked team boss Christian Horner. During the race in Saudi Arabia, it was clear that Max was not following team orders and had given Checo every reason to ignore them as well. Natalie Pinkman's comments on Sky Sports F1 have further suggested that Horner will have a tough job on his hands managing two drivers for the rest of the season. Despite Max's clear talent as a driver, it appears his actions have consequences, and Horner could be forced to make a difficult decision at some point. It remains to be seen if Perez's challenge will result in any long-term repercussions or how Horner will manage the situation going forward. It's certain that fans have a lot to look forward to in the coming races. Red Bull's RB19 is proving to be the class of the field in 2023, and Sergio Perez has every reason to feel confident that he has the full support from Red Bull to try and win the Formula One title. For so long, Red Bull has been viewed as a team that solely revolves around Verstappen, but Perez now feels he has the tool to challenge his teammate for the World Championship title. The RB19 appears to suit his driving style much better than last year's car, and it means he can maximize performance. Both drivers are also asking for the same things in terms of development direction for the car, which is a great sign that they are both on a similar level and working together to reach the same goal. Red Bull has taken steps to reduce weight from their challenger and shift handling to suit their preferences, giving them an edge over the competition. With a car that suits him and helps him be competitive no matter what condition he's in, Perez believes he can stay in the fight for the title this season. The battle between Verstappen and Perez is set to continue through 2023, and Red Bull is confident they have a championship-winning package between their two drivers with strong performances from both. That's why Red Bull is the team to watch this season. Max Verstappen's failure to follow team orders during the race has had consequences for both his team and the team's performance this season. During the Saudi Grand Prix, Max ignored Checo Perez's request to move aside after Checo requests that he slows down in order to help him catch up with George Russell. In doing so, not only did he fail to help Checo, but his actions also cost him the race. Additionally, Bernie Ecclestone recently mentioned that suspicion between drivers would increase going forward, and this is something Max has not helped. With Checo already suspicious of what Max was doing behind him, the Dutchman's refusal to give up places if he isn't getting the same service has only added fuel to the fire. Horner will have to work hard to manage two drivers this season, and his decision to cut one loose could be motivated by wanting Max out of the garage. While Max is undeniably talented, these actions have consequences, and it remains to be seen how Horner will manage the situation going forward. Bernie Ecclestone, the former Formula One CEO and founder, commented on the potential of suspicion between Checo Perez and Max Verstappen going forward. It's quite obvious that there is a certain amount of suspicion between these two now, so we'll see how that develops. He further said, the team will have to be very firm in order to keep it under control. If it's not, then there could be a few issues in the future. He stated that despite not agreeing to team orders, Checo still respected them, which he believed would lead to suspicion between the two drivers in the future. This will be especially true if Max continues to challenge the team orders or earns a higher spot than Checo on the grid. Ecclestone believes it will be difficult for Perez and Verstappen to trust each other going forward, as each driver may not be sure of what their teammate is up to, and he's urging Red Bull Racing to take steps to prevent any further incidents. Only time will tell if they're successful. Perez was determined to race as hard as he desired, despite any orders from his team. This mantra came in response to Verstappen's failure to follow the given orders of the Red Bull team during the race. Perez, who refused to back down for anyone, knew that Max's disobedience released him from any obligation to stick with the team's strategy. Checo was thankful for Max's actions, as it gave him a chance to prove exactly what he's capable of and why he deserves his spot on the team. This attitude of pushing all limitations regardless of what others think has seen Perez become one of the most successful drivers on the grid today. Max's failure to follow the instructions of the Red Bull team was seen as a challenge for Perez, and it's something that he did not back down from. This defiance has proved successful so far and could potentially shape the future outcome of this season's championship. Natalie Pinkman had some thought-provoking commentary on Christian Horner's challenging managerial situation. She noted that with Max starting in 15th place and potentially being unnerved by the drive shaft issues during the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, this could be a difficult challenge for Horner to manage two drivers who are both vying for a championship win. Through his career in Formula One, Horner has proven himself to be an incredibly talented team boss, but if both drivers descend into the red mist, the only option would be to cut one loose. It's possible that by the end of the season, Checo could be looking for a new contract due to Max's ego and potentially breaking team orders. Ultimately, it remains to be seen which way Max will go this season and what effect his decisions will have on Checo's future. But it's clear that Natalie Pinkman believes Horner will have a difficult time managing the two drivers. Christian Horner has proven himself to be an incredibly talented team boss over his long career in the sport of Formula One. His ability to identify and develop strong relationships with key personnel within teams, as well as his excellent track record of achieving success, has been instrumental in Red Bull's sustained run of success since 2010. He's also set a high standard for the way teams should function and has pushed technological boundaries, leading Red Bull to win 6 Drivers' Championships and 5 Constructors' Championships since 2010. This success speaks volumes of Christian's skill as a team boss and his ability to stay ahead of the competition in his ever-evolving sport. As such, he's one of the most respected team bosses in Formula One and will certainly be a force to be reckoned with for the foreseeable future. Max is feeling the consequences of his actions this season. Despite entering the season as reigning world champion, Max Verstappen has failed to follow team orders and put himself in a difficult position with Red Bull Racing boss Christian Horner. Natalie Pinkman reckons that Horner will have a trying time managing both drivers as they battle for the championship. Checo too has been willing to ignore team orders and drive as he sees fit, no longer with the obligation to give up positions. All of this could have consequences for Max, potentially resulting in him being cut loose at the end of the season if it becomes too much for the team boss to handle. This is a far cry from his dominant performance in 2010, when Max swept aside all opposition, and now it's a reality check of actions having consequences. Max must now perform at the highest level to keep his place on the grid or suffer the consequences. He must be careful not to cross the line into unbearable egotism, as that may be just enough for Christian to make the difficult decision. Only time will tell, but it's clear that Max is feeling the consequences of this season already. Checo Perez is in a precarious position. The reigning world champion has been challenged by Max Verstappen, and if he fails to follow team orders, it could lead to Checo looking for a new contract at the end of the season. This could be particularly problematic for him, as Red Bull already has their sights on retaining Max, so the likelihood of them offering Checo a new deal is slim. He's worked hard to become one of the top drivers in Formula One, and will be eager to prove himself this season. But with Max posing such a formidable challenge, it could be difficult for him to remain competitive. His future at Red Bull looks uncertain, as Christian Horner could potentially cut him loose just to make his own life easier. And with the pressure of a potential contract looming, it'll be an interesting season for Checo. He has proved himself as an incredibly talented driver over the years and will be looking to demonstrate that talent over the course of the year in order to secure a new deal. But only time will tell if he'll be able to overcome Max's challenge and stay with Red Bull for another season. It looks set to be an intense battle between the two drivers, and it could go either way. Max Verstappen is undeniably one of the most talented drivers in Formula One. His natural ability and skill have led him to 2 World Championship titles, as well as many other podiums and record-breaking times. However, his talent could be overshadowed by his ego this season. Although he has the capability to take the top prize, his stubbornness and refusal to follow team orders could prove to be a huge detriment. With Perez officially challenging him, the tension between them is rising, and it remains to be seen how Horner will manage their behavior going forward. If Max can't channel his aggression and ambition into constructive results, there's no doubt that he'll lose out on some big opportunities. Ultimately, it'll be up to him to decide whether his talent or ego will prevail in the end. Christian Horner has proven himself to be an incredibly talented team boss throughout his career in the sport. He's already shown that he'll not hesitate to take action if necessary, and Max's lack of respect for team orders may have pushed him even further. Christian could potentially decide to cut Max loose at the end of the season just to make his life easier. While the potential of winning both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships might soften the pain, it will not erase the fact that Max has made Christian's life difficult this year. Christian knows how talented Max is, but at what point does his ego get in the way? It remains to be seen if Max can manage himself and prove his talent on the track, or if Christian will decide to cut him loose. Only time will tell. Verstappen has quickly made a name for himself in the world of Formula One, having achieved great success since his debut in 2015. He's now on the brink of potentially claiming his third Drivers' Championship title this season. However, with tensions rising between him and Checo Perez after Max ignored team orders and refused to give his position up on the track, it remains to be seen whether this could potentially become a problem for Max and jeopardize his chances of a third title. If Max is able to control his aggression and emotions during races while also following team orders, he will be in good stead to claim another championship title. Otherwise, Checo Perez may snatch the opportunity away from him. It's sure to be an interesting season of Formula One racing as Max attempts to claim his third Drivers' Championship title. Sergio Perez has been a direct competitor of Max Verstappen since joining the circuit in 2021. After his win at the Bahrain Grand Prix, it was evident that he had become not only a great driver, but also a threat to Max's position on the leaderboard. When Max refused to follow team orders, it seemed like he was challenging Checo head-on. This could be a huge problem for Max in 2023 if he chooses to anger Checo. If the rivalry continues, it may lead to clashes on track and even off the field. The competition between them could become so fierce that it might even have an effect on Christian Horner's decision-making when choosing his drivers for the team. It could ultimately end up in Checo getting the position and Max looking for a new contract at the end of the season. This makes it essential that both drivers work together to keep racing competitive but also remain respectful and cordial towards each other, as there's nothing more important than team spirit. Ultimately, it'll be up to Max to decide if he wants to continue down this path of potentially angering Checo and risking his future in Formula One. The 2023 Formula One season is sure to be an intense one for both Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. It'll not be just about who can drive the fastest on the track, but also a battle of wits between these two talented drivers. With Christian Horner watching from above, it's important that they keep their emotions in check and respect each other, as their rivalry could have an effect on future decisions. Will Max be able to control his ego and drive with poise, or will Checo rise to the challenge and overtake him on the leaderboards? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.